Hi guys, welcome. And who dat? I'm Joe, and today we are going to do another mock draft for our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold, the New Orleans Saints. We're looking at the draft 2025, and who could the Saints possibly get? There's a couple of players that are at the top of the list, the top of the boards for everybody. And here are the draft picks for the Saints. Currently, we are picking 10th. These are these have pretty much stayed the same throughout the course of the season. We've been as high as pick 3 when we had our loss to Carolina, which was the seventh loss in a row. And since then, we've won 3 of the last 5 games. So we're fluctuating anywhere from 9 to 11 right now. A lot of Saints fans are up in arms about it because they want to be in play for one of the two quarterbacks at the top of the boards. That would be Shadir Sanders out of Colorado and Cam Ward out of Miami. There's another player at the top of the board, Travis Hunter, wide receiver, cornerback, who I think everyone consensus thinks that this is the best player in the draft. So I'm not moving up from pick 10 into the top 5 to get anybody. All right, we need too many good players. We have too many positions of need. There are too many good players in the top of the draft. I'm not going to trade away a first and a second. I'm not going to mortgage our future to get into the top 5 and grab somebody. However, if one of these players falls out of the top 5, then there's some consideration I'd have to make. Now, the consensus view is also that this draft isn't very strong. And typically, if you want to move into the top 5 of the top 10 in the draft, then you're going to have to trade first round picks, second round picks, all this kind of stuff. And if we were going to move from pick 10 to pick 3 or pick 4, yeah, it would probably cost us a lot. But some people are saying because the draft is weak, it's not going to cost as much to move up. Now, if I leave it up to these mock draft simulators, they will allow all kinds of crazy stuff. So I've got the points value chart for the trades for the draft picks. And so I'm going to follow this if I have to trade up or if I have to trade back. You know, they will offer you insane things to move up, and I will take them in these simulators. But if I'm going to move up, I'm going to try to make it fair. So I'm setting you all up for this draft because there's a player that falls. So the draft starts. Pick 1 goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. They take Shadir Sanders. Pick 2 is the New York Giants, and they draft quarterback Cam Ward. So both quarterbacks are off the board. Pick 3 is New England, and they go with wide receiver Tetairoa McMillan. Pick 4 goes to Jacksonville. Now, this is where I believe Travis Hunter's going to go. Jacksonville's looking for offensive line help. They're looking for cornerback. And in this simulation, Jacksonville, with the 4th overall pick, takes cornerback Will Johnson out of Michigan. And as soon as this happens, I decide, okay, I thought Johnson was going to fall to get pretty close to us and that Hunter would be taken, but no, it's Johnson that's drafted by Jacksonville, and Hunter is still on the board. The next team up to draft at pick 5 is Carolina. I'm not interested in making a trade with them. I believe that their intention is a defensive end, and they do go defensive end. Instead of going Abdul Carter out of Penn State, Carolina decides to draft Mikael Williams out of Georgia. That puts Tennessee on the board at pick 6. And Tennessee needs a lot of help. I think if they were smart, they would go offensive line. And that's what they do. Tennessee with pick six grabs Kelvin Banks, the offensive tackle out of Texas. And now is the time when I'm going to try to make a move. Cleveland is on the board with pick seven, and I want Travis Hunter. He's fallen this far, and I'm going to see what I can package to get him. Now, to move up from pick 10 to pick seven on the picks value chart, this move would cost us 200 points. If we combine our third round pick and our fourth round pick that we got from the Washington Commanders for Marshawn Lattimore, if we trade that third and that fourth to Cleveland, that comes out to 200 points exactly. And because the draft is so weak this year, I'm not sure if you're going to need a whole bunch extra off of the points value system to make a move, especially if you're going at the bottom half of the top 10. We're already in the top 10. So, according to the simulator, I could have made this move by just trading the third round pick, and I know that doesn't match up. I got to at least give them 200 points worth of picks. So this is how the deal's going to go. I'm going to trade the third round pick I got from Washington, pick 87, and I'm going to trade a fourth round pick in next year's draft to the Cleveland Browns, and they're going to trade with me. Now Cleveland has 5 6th round picks, and I don't like the idea of having 8 picks and giving up 2 of them to move up to get this player. So I negotiate with Cleveland, and this is how the trade actually goes down. They get my third round pick this year, pick 87. They get my fourth round pick next year, and they get my last pick, pick 7. Looks like it's Mr. Irrelevant right now. And Cleveland gives us the 7th overall pick, and we get 2 of their 6th round picks. We get their first 6th round pick, pick 183, and we get their last 6th round pick 215. Cleveland's willing to do this deal. Like I said, the simulator was willing to let me make this move by just trading the third round pick. And I'm pretty sure in reality that's not going to happen. They're going to want at least a 3 and a 4 because that's how the points match up. And I decided to trade them a 4th round pick next year instead of one of the 2 4th round picks we have this year. This is how the trade goes. Now, if this kind of trade to you seems unrealistic, then yeah, you're just going to have to sit and wait till 10. And I almost did. There's only 3 players that I would make a move to trade up for, and they would have to fall pretty far. It would either be the 2 quarterbacks or it would be Travis Hunter. And in this situation, it is Travis Hunter. So that's how the trade goes. This is what the Saints picks look like now. We've lost a 3rd round pick, but we've gained 2 additional 6th round picks. We've lost the 7th round pick, but we still have 8 picks overall. So basically, the only thing you're missing from this year's draft would be a 3rd round pick. Next year you're missing a 4th. But you get up to pick 7, and with pick 7 in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Heisman Trophy winner, cornerback slash wide receiver Travis Hunter out of Colorado. This is insane. I've seen crazier things happen. Travis Hunter is, in my opinion, the best player in college coming out. I think Ashton Genty's right there with him. Ashton Genty's still on the board. Yeah, Mason Graham is still on the board. Abdul Carter is still on the board. But if I'm going to make a move up, I'm going up and getting one of those 3 players, the 2 quarterbacks or Travis Hunter. Yeah, this is the way it goes. Travis Hunter is going to come play football for our beloved Bless You Boys in black and gold. Hunter is 6'1", 185 pounds. He runs a 4.4 40. 185 pounds is pretty small. But, and he's not a big cat. 6'1" is a decent height. But my intention is to play him at cornerback full time and then have packages that we can put him in at wide receiver. Don't expect him to play full-time wide receiver and then go out there and play full-time cornerback. No, I'm going to need you at cornerback all the time, and then we'll have packages for you on offense. That's my intention. If you guys think this is insane, then this is the insane one. It's insane for me to trade up because I love trading back and acquiring picks. And I base a lot of it on the points value system. And I also take whatever these simulators offer me. Like I said, this trade could have gone down based on the simulator if I just traded my third round pick. They were willing to make the move, but I know it's going to cost more than that. So I give them the fair point value of a 3 and a 4. I get 2 of their 6s and throw in my 7. So they're not lacking in picks, and I'm not lacking in picks. We keep our 8 overall picks, and we get Travis Hunter. All right, that's how it goes. I'm kind of excited and bummed out at the same time because I hate trading up. But if this were to happen, it would be of pretty good value for this team. All right, the Saints wait around till the second round, and when our pick comes up, pick 42 overall, there's a couple of decent players there that I have a low first round, high second round grade on. I mean, I'm either going defensive tackle with Walter Nolan at this point, or I'm going to address the offensive line. I go ahead and address the offensive line with pick 2 or pick 42 in the second round of the 2025 NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select offensive guard Tyler Booker out of Alabama. There's a chance a lot of these players will go back to school. I'm not sure if Booker's going to go back or not. This site takes players off of the boards once they declare they're going back to school. So Booker is still draft eligible at this point. And yeah, I go ahead and take a shot. My second round pick is going to be an offensive lineman. Tyler Booker, 6'5", 325 pounds. I think he's going to fit just fine at left guard. Alabama runs a pretty pro style offense. I'm not sure if Booker's going to excel in an outside gap scheme or outside zone scheme, pardon me, but not sure what kind of offense the Saints are going to be running next year anyway. But I think offensive line is very important for this team to address, and defensive line too. So yeah, we don't have 2 third round picks anymore. And it's going to be tough to address all of our positions of need in this particular draft, but it's going to take several drafts for the Saints to catch up. And I think offensive line is too important to pass up right now. Get yourself a starter on the offensive line with Tyler Booker. All right, we're waiting until the third round, pick 74 overall. I am debating here. There are a couple of positions of need that I could fill, or I could go with the best player available on my board at this spot. And that's what I decide to do. And it's a familiar name with pick 74 in the third round of the 2025 NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select tight end Mason Taylor out of LSU. 6'5", 255 pounds. He runs a 4.64. He's a complete tight end. He can block. He can run routes. He's got great hands. We need a complete tight end on this team. I think tight end's a sneaky big time need for us. I think the tight end could bail us out of a lot of situations in a lot of games. We've seen some decent production from our tight ends this year. I think we need a major upgrade. Taylor is on that short list of the 4 tight ends that I really want for this team. And the fact that he was still there in the third round, I had to jump on it. Now, we haven't addressed defensive line yet, and this is going to get tricky. We haven't addressed wide receiver yet. Yeah, and we're not going to have a lot of money in free agency, so that's why I think trading down and getting extra picks is such a good move. But at the same time, you're not going to hit on every draft pick, and you're not going to fill every need in just one draft. So I think Travis Hunter's a special player, and if we could keep him, for his entire rookie contract, have a great player, and then re-sign him to a big old deal. Yeah, he's a playmaker I want on my team. We did address offensive line, and now we have this great tight end, and hopefully this will help us out a lot. I'm worried about the defensive line. I truly am. Defensive line has looked good lately. Brian Young is the new defensive line coach. I think he's got our line playing the best they've played in a while. But we're getting older, and next year we've got a lot of free agents. We're going to have to re-sign guys. There's this thought that we're going to re-sign Chase Young, possibly around 15 million a year. It's a steep price to pay. If you're trying to save money, you would have to prioritize defensive line for sure if you don't re-sign some bodies. Okay, Chase Young's a free agent. Peyton Turner's going to be a free agent. Tano Passanio's going to be a free agent. And like I've said in other videos, if you re-sign those guys, you're just going to end up with the same results you have now. And I think we're pretty weak against the run. So you sign Chase Young to 15 million a year. I want to cap it at 10, but we're paying him 13 million this year. He's got about 5.5 sacks now. If he finishes the year with 8 sacks, he's probably going to demand 15 million on the open market. And the Saints may be willing to pay that for a young guy, 25-year-old, who was a top 10 pick. So keep that in mind. Now, the fourth round starts. We have pick 111 and pick 123. And there's a wide receiver that I really want who is still on the board. I could have addressed wide receiver in the third round and defensive line, but it's rough sailing. I mean, I went ahead and got Mason Taylor. I could have gotten Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle out of Texas. He would have been a great nose tackle for this team at pick 74 in the third round. But I went with the playmaker in Mason Taylor instead, and I'm hoping that I can still grab some bodies for the defensive line later on. But this wide receiver that I want, I didn't expect to still be here. And so I'm going to try to make a move to get up and get him. And I am able to with the Las Vegas Raiders. They have the 103rd pick. So I swap fourth rounders with them. I give them 111. They give me 103. And all I have to give them is a 6th round pick next year. I have 3 6th round picks this year. And there's a chance if this was reality, I would have just traded them one of my 6th round picks this year and kept my 6th round pick next year. But because this is a simulation, I'm trading away the 6th round pick next year so I can keep my 3 6th round picks this year. It's a cheap move to make, especially since I'm going to guarantee the player that I really want. With pick 103 in the 4th round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select wide receiver Savion Williams out of TCU. TCU has 2 great wide receivers. Jack Besh, who used to be a tight end for the Tigers, is a really good wide receiver, and Savion Williams is a stud too. Mercy. 6'5", 225 pounds. A monster at wide receiver. He runs a 4.45, which is probably the fastest time I've seen for these big boys coming out. Savion Williams was floating around a 6th round pick, 7th round pick for most of this college season, but he blows up. I mean, he's blown up. He may actually be day 2 pick when it's all said and done. He's getting a lot of comps to players like Cordero Patterson. He's just a big dude who can do it all. And yeah, I didn't want him. I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to wait 8 more picks. I'm positive Savion would have been taken. And yeah, there's a lot of big-bodied wide receivers, and if I just want a guy for a big body, I could have put it off. I didn't have to make this move. But I think Savion Williams is a special player. I think he's a decent run blocker. He's huge. He can make a lot of stuff happen in the middle of the field, and he's got really decent speed for his size. Savion Williams, one of them guys, if he lasts this long, he'd be a steal and definitely worth moving up for. All right, that's how I did it. So next year we're out. We don't have a fourth round pick next year or a sixth round pick next year, but we still have our eight picks this year, and yeah, we've got the big bodied wide receiver now. Later on in the fourth round, with pick 123 in the fourth round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select offensive tackle Anthony Belton out of North Carolina State. I wanted a defensive lineman at this point, but the value just wasn't quite there yet. Anthony Belton is a good tackle. It was between him or Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin. And when it's all said and done, Jack Nelson might end up being the better prospect. I think Nelson might end up getting taken in day two, late day two. And Anthony Belton's a good player. So we need help on both lines. And it looks like this draft, well, we're going to focus on offensive line for starters, and we're going to have to work on that defensive line later on. Hopefully we can get some pieces. But yeah, Belton was a really good player left on the board, especially at that position. And that's why I went ahead and did it. Defensive line is one of the deepest areas in this upcoming draft. So I think we need help at stopping the run on the defensive line. I also think we need pass rushers pretty bad. But if we re-sign Chase Young and we can get some pieces that can stop the run, we'll be halfway there, you know. And now we have to wait. There's no fifth round pick, and this is the biggest wait of them all. We have to wait 60 picks before we pick again. But we have three six-round picks to finish out the draft. And when pick 183 comes up, I'm excited. There's a big body there that I'm going to grab for the defensive line. With pick 183 in the sixth round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select defensive tackle Nazir Stackhouse out of Georgia. Belton, by the way, Anthony Belton, offensive tackle, is 6'6", 336 pounds. Big boy. Massive, massive dude. Nazir Stackhouse. He's built pretty good too. 6'3", 320 pounds. So he's a nose tackle, and he's really good against the run. I don't think you're going to get a lot of pass rush from Nazir Stackhouse. But like I said, I passed on Alfred Collins, who's probably the best run stopping defensive tackle in the draft. You know, that's going to definitely play nose. But we got a big body here in Nazir Stackhouse. So 6'3", 320. You put him in the middle of the line, try to stop the run. It's a six-round pick. So he and Christian Boyd are now two run-stopping defensive tackles that have been selected in the sixth round. And we're going to hope that these guys can progress and turn into something. It's going to take years to fix this team, especially if I'm trading up and trading future picks away. But I think this is a good move. And three picks later, with pick 186 in the sixth round of the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select another defensive lineman, defensive end Tyler Barron out of Miami. I've taken this player before in the sixth round. 6'5", 260 pounds. He's going to be an end. I have a feeling that if we do resign Chase Young, we're not going to be able to resign everybody. I don't know if we bring Peyton Turner back and Chase Young and Tano Passanio. I don't know if Isaiah Foskey turns a corner, and I don't know how much we got left out of Cameron Jordan. So I definitely need a defensive end for this team. We need one. We need a couple. Whether we re-sign our free agents or not, all of them, we'll see. In my mind, at this point, Chase Young's re-signed. The only way you re-sign Peyton Turner is if you can get him for dirt cheap. You might be able to get Tano Passanio back again if he wants to continue his career. You can get him for a couple of more years cheap. And now we got Tyler Barron in the mix. I'm not sold on Isaiah Foskey. He's a second round pick from a couple of years ago, and he hasn't shown me anything. So he's got some competition now. And with the last pick in this draft, pick 215 in the sixth round overall, we're going to go with safety Xavier Inwankpa out of Iowa. 6'2", 215 pounds. He is a big safety. He runs a 4.39 40. He's pretty good in coverage, especially in man, and he's just okay at run defense. But we need bodies for safety, big time. We need bodies in the defensive backfield, big time. So that concludes this draft. I have traded up twice, but we still manage 8 picks. And here's the big board. This is how it finally ends. And Travis Hunter, the stud of the draft, is a New Orleans Saint. I love trading down and getting extra picks. I love increasing our picks in the top 3 rounds. I think that's a goal of mine, and I subtracted from it. If we just stay put where we're at, we're going to have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. But in this draft, we only end up with 3. And plus, we've traded a fourth round pick next year. But Travis Hunter's a special player. I think Tyler Booker is going to fit at offensive guard just fine. We need help on the offensive line big time. I think Tyler Booker comes in and is immediately your starting left guard. Mason Taylor is going to be the best tight end we have on the team. Juwan Johnson is a free agent next year, and I'm not sold on him as a elite tight end at all. I think he's a special tight end as a wide receiver who can run block some. And if you have to start a game with Juwan Johnson, you're going to be okay. But it's not special. I think Mason Taylor has the ability to be special. And we haven't had a really good complete tight end in a long time. Getting Savion Williams at wide receiver is great. We need a big body. He's also a playmaker. I mean, this guy can fly, and he's massive. 6'5", 225, 225 for a wide receiver. I mean, and he can move. Yeah. So do we utilize him like Cordero Patterson? Yeah, we could. We could run him out of the backfield. He's capable. He can do it all. I think he can throw the ball too. Savion Williams is a tough dude, and I'm pretty excited about that. I think with Savion Williams and Mason Taylor and Travis Hunter running around at wide receiver from time to time as well, this helps your offense. You get a piece in the offensive line and basically 2 wide receivers and a tight end. It helps our offense quite a bit. Anthony Belton at offensive tackle. At worst case scenario, he's a backup. We're losing Landon Young and Oli Udo to free agency next year. So we need depth at tackle. You would like to get a guy that could challenge Trevor Penning for that starting job. And if I would have stayed put at pick 10, I would have probably, if he was still on the board, I'd have probably taken Will Campbell and wanted him to play guard. But we get Tyler Booker in the second round for guard. Getting Anthony Belton as a tackle is a good move. I believe no matter how many picks we have, we need a couple of offensive linemen and a couple of defensive linemen. I mean, just for the sake of this team, it's kind of necessary. So you need a couple of pieces for the secondary too. So yeah, we finish with 8 picks. As long as we have at least 8, I'm okay. Nose tackle Nazir Stackhouse with the first of 3 6-round picks. Big body that we can put in the middle, stop the run. We need some help there, big time. Tyler Barron, the second 6-round pick, the defensive end, 6'5". He's pretty tall, but he can get after the passer pretty good. And at 260 pounds, he can hold up on the defensive line. He'll gain a little bit of weight. And hopefully we have us a flex player that can rotate in and out. And when Cam Jordan decides to retire, we're going to need somebody there. Chase Young, if we resign him, he'll be the starter. And then maybe Barron can get on the field more than Isaiah Foskey. And with our last 6th round pick, safety Xavier and Wampa, a good safety, I think a better off the ball, like deep kind of safety in the box. He's got size. He's not a highly touted run defender, or, he's not the best tackler in the world, but we need bodies at safety big time. I mean, if Nwangpa isn't good enough to crack into the lineup at safety, then he's getting beat out by JT Gray and Jordan Howden. And, Tyrann Mathieu's going to retire soon. Can't do this forever. Wouldn't surprise me if Mathieu retires next year. Wouldn't surprise me if all of our old players retire next year after this awful season of the Saints. But we have a body there too. So there you go. That's my latest mock draft. I do mock drafts every day, and I like to sit down and document a few of them and present them to you. And I thought this one was interesting because a great player like Travis Hunter fell so far. It was also interesting that I moved up to go and get him. I never do that, but that's what I did here. I'm Joe. This is Rosenfield 10. Subscribe to my channel if you love the Saints. I talk about the Saints. I try to put 2 videos out a week. And you guys let me know in the comments what you think about these moves. And until the next one, I'll talk to you later. Who dat?